Welcome to A Bit of Thought, the podcast. My name is AJ,
My name is Elizabeth.
and today we are just going to go over a few basic introductory things like who we are, a little bit about our background, a little bit about the name of the podcast, A Bit of Thought, and what you can expect to get from this podcast, things that we are, hoping to be able to share with everyone.
You ready?
I'm ready. Yeah. Let me
Fourth
grab
time's
my-
a charm?
Yeah, it's taken quite a bit of work to get this off the ground.
Good, I'm excited.
Me too.
All right. Well, why don't you go first? Tell us a little
Want me
bit
to go
about
first?
yourself. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So like I said, I'm AJ, born in Guatemala in Central America. I was raised in Toronto, Canada. Basically lived half my life in Canada, the other half of my life here in the United States, in Florida. I grew up in a Hispanic Christian home, a Pentecostal Christianity, very fundamentalist, and I was never satisfied with the answers that I was given growing up, either through church or my family. I do have great memories, though, of my grandfather. He was someone who was very dedicated to deep study of scripture. So I think he rubbed off on me a little bit
Yeah.
because he was the type of man that would, wake up early in the morning before the sun was up and do his daily scripture reading, scripture study. Then he'd go on walks and he'd throughout the day just continue studying. He never got to, study it at like an academic level or in a seminary,
Mhm.
but he was very wise when it came to the Hebrew and the Christian scriptures. So
Yeah.
he's a big influence on me. Around the age of 20, I did start my academic study of the Bible or the biblical text.
Mhm.
I started off by attending a Christian college in Canada. It was an evangelical Christian college, so it was still in line with fundamentalist views. However, it was my first foray into the serious study of the scriptures.
Okay.
So I'm very thankful for that opportunity because it did set me on a path that has basically brought me to where I am today. And throughout my life, I've continued studying the scriptures at an academic level. I've been able to study under some renowned biblical scholars like Bart Ehrman, who is my favorite New Testament scholar, Mark Goodacre, James Tabor, and I've been able to attend classes at some very good universities that have very strong religious departments like Duke University, University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, where Bart teaches, and some classes through Princeton Theological Seminary. I'm trying to complete my degree in history, and I'm also looking to pursue a degree in Bible theology and apologetics at Talbot School of Theology. Some of my hobbies include I love reading. I love collecting books.
As you can see.
Yep. Currently, my collection is around 500 books.
Wow, really?
Yeah, mostly they're all pretty much related to religion or
Okay.
religious studies in one way or another, predominantly Christianity. So
Okay.
there's a lot of New Testament scholarship, Old Testament scholarship, some theology. And I'm also a big fan of fiction, Stephen King,
Okay.
comics, things like that. I love listening to music. One of my favorite hobbies is collecting high-end headphones and audio equipment.
Mhm.
There's just something about, listening to your favorite music that I was exposed to growing up, but then listening to it through very precise audiophile, high-end audio equipment.
Okay.
It just brings music to life in a way that you can't imagine unless you've experienced it. So
Yeah.
I like testing different headphones, different amps, different digital to analog converters, different cables, And they all make just a little bit of difference that
Mm-hmm.
makes the experience that much more enjoyable.
Okay.
Well, I also love watching movies and TV shows. One of the things that I enjoy doing as a family is anytime we watch a movie or a TV show, I like picking out symbolism, motifs, like Christian symbolism, Christian motifs. Living in the West, a lot of the content that gets produced in our culture is highly influenced by the biblical text,
Mm-hmm.
right? So um, I always encourage the kids to, like, whenever you're watching something, try to extract wisdom from it. Like, what can you get out of it? What is it trying to tell you? What is it trying to teach you?
Okay.
Um, and it's just something that we enjoy doing as a family. Like, we love watching TV shows and movies and doing that with in the back of our head. I enjoy taking walks while listening to podcasts. I love riding bicycles, not motorcycles. I'm a big fan of fast cars. I'm a huge BMW fan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm a huge coffee drinker as well.
Mm.
I guess you can call me somewhat of a coffee snob.
Yes.
But I'm not, I don't consider myself a snob in the literal sense because it's contextual. I can go to a remote village in Guatemala and
True.
drink instant coffee,
Yeah.
and I'll be just at home as if I was in New York City drinking at one of the expensive coffee bars in
Yeah.
Brooklyn or something.
Yeah.
So, but obviously I have my tastes, and my favorite drink is the cortado,
Mm.
which is I think is the perfect balance of espresso to milk,
Okay.
oat milk. I love it with oat milk. It adds a nutty, earthy profile to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 1-to-1 ratio for those
Mm-hmm.
that don't know. So it's equal parts coffee, espresso, equal parts milk. So it's a nice, strong, punchy
Good. It's
drink.
good.
And it's small. It's 4 ounces, so it's
Yeah.
very small. I'm a big tech nerd. I'm a big fan of technology. I believe that technology enables human beings to do things that we can't do because of limitations due to physics,
Mm.
uh, you know, distance, things like that. We are
Mm.
able to get things accomplished using technology, to make your systems more efficient
Oh, I like that.
is something that I'm always looking for tools that can help me either automate things or make certain systems more efficient. I'm a big believer in the getting things done system, or GTD, which encourages to not keep things in your head.
Okay.
So it's always good to have a bucket where you can just throw anything that comes to your head into it. They call it an inbox. So I use apps.
Is it an app?
I use reminders from Apple, and I have an
Okay.
inbox there. So anytime
Okay.
something comes to mind, I just throw it in there. And then once a week, I go in there and I review things, move them to their different buckets. Things that need to be done, things that don't need to be done, I just trash them immediately.
Mm.
I just think that you can use technology to sort of free yourself from the burden of carrying all these unprocessed thoughts
Mm.
in your head.
Okay.
I like tweaking things, personalizing them. So if I buy a gun or a firearm, for example, I'll find a way to personalize it. I'll change the trigger, get a lighter trigger, a different color trigger, change the slide, do something to it
Yeah.
just to make it my own. And I pretty much do that with anything.
Mm-hmm.
I also enjoy writing. I believe that writing is one of the most liberating activities that we could engage in. So I try to write 15 minutes every day, at the very least 15 minutes.
Like journaling or?
Not journaling, it's more of just like in the morning when I get a chance before I work, I'll take 15 minutes, and whatever thought pops into my head, I want to write about that for 15 minutes,
Oh, so
so
an
like,
actual subject.
yeah, so
Okay.
like the other day, a couple of days ago, it was Halloween popped into my head, and how there's this big paranoia amongst Christians and evangelical churches with Halloween. So that popped into my head. So
So
I
you wrote
wrote
it down.
about it.
Okay.
And a lot of the times those thoughts end up becoming articles on my blog, or they end up becoming posts on Instagram.
Okay.
They become podcast episodes, they become lessons that we do in our family Bible studies, things like that. So it's the point is, and I encourage everyone to make time to write, because when you know how to write and you know how to speak, you can be the most dangerous person in the room. Having the ability to do those things, being able to articulate
Your thoughts.
things, your thoughts, or just articulate things in general is a weapon. That in this modern age of consumption, everything is consumption, consumption, doom scrolling on social media. The person that knows how to articulate things through writing and speaking is a powerful person.
I get it.
I'm also a big proponent of the idea that data and information is God's language. It's a divine language.
Okay.
It's easy to forget sometimes that God is not a human being. And although he uses human language to communicate with humanity sometimes, he doesn't speak human languages. He's a completely other type of being.
Okay.
And I think that data and information are ways that he communicates with us.
Okay.
And just to expand that a little bit more, for example, the scientific method is currently the best, most reliable, impartial tool that we have to discover truths about the universe. And the way that the scientific method works is it collects data first.
Okay.
And then once you collect the data, you start, generating hypotheses and things like that. And I think God communicates through data and information. And he's not divorced from the universe. He's not divorced from his creation. So what we discover in the universe, I think we should be able to reconcile it with God. Because at the end of the day, it's his creation. It's his communication.
I've never heard anybody explain it like that or say anything like that.
Really?
Yeah.
And then
I feel like people always separate God from humanity because he is so divine. But there is that reconciliation through language or data or...
Well, I think it's a medium of communication.
Yeah, medium. Yeah.
That we discover truths about the universe. And I think those truths that we discover about the universe shouldn't be in conflict with God if he exists.
Okay.
What happens a lot of the time is that what we discover through science, through the scientific method about the universe is in conflict with what people believe about God.
I see.
The concept of God that they carry in their head.
Yeah.
But that's not God. I think that form of God, that form of thinking is too small.
It's almost like putting God in a box.
A little bit, yeah. And, the idea is that when you're attuned to God's presence, you should be able to extract wisdom from any source, right? So a movie, a TV show, like we said, scientific discoveries, books, culture, human culture, nature is a big one. That's actually a biblical principle that God communicates through nature, right? So it's not completely it's not completely foreign to the Bible, this idea that I'm trying to express. But yeah, I think those are things that topics that I want to delve into deeper, and help, hopefully help people have a bigger idea of who God is and can be than the one that they've basically been handed down from parents, religious leaders. Encourage people to think for themselves. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. All right. So I was born in the Bronx, New York. I've lived half my life in New York, and I moved to Orlando when I was 18. So the other half has been here. And I grew up in a large home. I'm one of 8 siblings. I'm the 7th in line. And we had a big house. There was always a lot of activity going on at home. I was born and raised in a Puerto Rican style, Pentecostal fundamentalist home. Um, and I was telling you this a couple of days ago. A good portion of like the beginning of my childhood up until the age of like 6 or 7, I didn't really speak much. Um, I spoke at home, obviously, with my family, but like in school settings, in large settings, I never ever uttered a word. Teachers thought I was deaf or mute. I don't know if it was maybe that I was shy or because even at home, like I spoke, but it wasn't ever like I'm the center, I'm speaking. And maybe it was just my surroundings, I had to try and get a little voice here and there amongst a big household. Maybe it was just, it's a learning curve, I think. I think for me as an adult now, it's been a learning curve to kind of get my voice out there and speak my mind. And that's why, I'm taking advantage of this opportunity that, that we're starting a podcast and we can communicate openly our thoughts and ideas. So I'm enjoying this. As far as my career, I'm a pediatric critical care transport nurse. Nursing has been my life for the past 20 years as well. I've been doing transport for about 12 years, and then 7.5 years was pediatric ICU. So I think because of like that nursing background and my upbringing, I would consider myself a very analytical thinker. Like everything is like step by step, or there's like a checklist that I need to check off. I have a beginning and I have an end, and I need to like know the steps in order to get to that end. Unlike you, I feel like you're more abstract.
Yeah,
And I think I'm more like analytical. So, yeah.
that's a good way to put it, I guess.
As far as my hobbies, we love trying new restaurants together, trying different foods. We love watching movies and TV shows as a family. That's kind of like our thing with our family. We love coffee.
I think we've actually tried, I wouldn't say all the good coffee shops in Orlando, but a lot
A
of
lot
them,
of the good
most
ones.
of them maybe. And
Lobos,
there's some very
Foxtail.
good coffee. Well,
Yeah,
those are not even at the top of
I
this. I think
know.
there's some other ones we've been to that are very, very good coffee shops. Like
What's
you can
one
find
that's
them
like
in.
not known by many that you would say?
I mean, I don't know if that it's not known by many, but because it's popular. But I currently my favorite coffee shop is Framework
Oh, yes.
on Mills in
Yeah,
Mills. Yeah, their coffee's
so good.
amazing,
Yeah.
amazing coffee. Lobos is really good too. They
Hmm.
just brought back their maple bourbon cortado, which I had two the other day, back to back. It's
They're
such a
good.
good drink. But that's if you're not in the Orlando area, that's one thing that you should keep in mind is that there's so much more to Orlando than the parks and the resorts.
Hmm.
Like if you go north of Orlando, you have Winter Park, Winter Springs, Oviedo. There's a lot of little cities,
Hmm.
spread out,
Hmm.
which each have their unique character. They have a lot of places that the locals like going to. They're
Yeah,
like hidden gems. But yeah, there's a lot in this area.
a lot more to Orlando than the parks,
Hmm.
right? Let's see, where was I? I have a big sweet tooth. I feel like you're savory, I'm sweet. Opposites attract, right?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I love singing. That's just like a part of me. I mean, when I wake up, I'll have a song in my head. I'm either humming or singing it out loud, singing in the car all the time. That's just some of my best memories are singing in school concerts with my sisters.
Mm,
It's like core memories that
mm,
we have. Um, and just a little more about my personality as far as like that analytical type thinking. Um, I love a tidy and clean home. Everything has to be organized.
that is
Everything
true.
has a spot. Every item in the home has a home. So if it's out of order, it needs to be be put back in order. That's probably one of my biggest pet peeves, seeing things out of order.
That's one of the things I love about you is that you are very organized, very clean, and our spaces are always, disinfected. They're clean, they're organized. Things are easy to find.
Systems. I feel like we have systems in our house.
Yeah.
We love to travel. We've been to some
We could do more of it, but yeah, we do love to travel.
We will soon. We've been to some pretty cool places. We've been to Toronto, Canada, quite a few times. Guatemala. We went to Italy.
And in the U.S., we've been to some
US,
states,
yeah,
different
St.
states.
Louis,
New York
New
City
York.
is always one of my favorite vacations. I can't get enough of New York City.
When we go, we're like tourists.
Yeah.
All the best spots, all the good restaurants, good coffee shops. And that's it. I think that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
No, that's good. That's good. All right. We have a couple of icebreaker questions. We don't want to make this introduction episode super long, so it'll be short. But what's your favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Any rom-com. Give me any rom-com and I'm a sucker for it.
What's one that
The Notebook. I feel like everybody loves The Notebook. Pretty Woman. And then like serious movies, I would say the Hunger Games series, all of them. And there's a new one coming out soon, so I'm really looking forward to that. Okay. Yeah. How about you?
I'm going to go with Goodfellas. It's always hard to pick one movie because I kind of, break them down into genres or categories. But Goodfellas is just, I could watch that movie over and over again. I just enjoy it so much. And most recently, I'm also a big fan of horror. Hereditary is jumped to like top place for me, number one place in terms of horror movies. It's just such a masterpiece, and I know that it's unfortunate that a lot of people won't get to watch it because they're turned off by horror movies. But the way I like to explain it is that Ari Aster, the director, he uses horror as a medium to tell his story.
Okay.
And even though it's a horror movie, it's kind of like the horror aspects of it, the scary stuff takes a backseat to the story that he's telling. So they're just he uses the horror to deliver the message, and it's a masterpiece. What is your favorite TV show?
All right. Hands down, Friends. I can quote almost a line from almost any episode. Friends, hands down. I grew up watching that show. And The Office. That's amazing. I feel like we really enjoy watching. We've watched it so many times over and over again.
I love The Office. The Office is the kind of show that I like watching while I'm eating dinner with the kids.
Yeah.
Sitting at the dinner table, because it's just
funny.
It doesn't need you to think too deep about it. It's just such a good show. So iconic. So influential in pop culture.
I know. Stranger Things. We're big Stranger Things fans in this house. And currently we're actually watching Breaking Bad. We're rewatching Breaking Bad, but we're watching it with the kids now, and they really enjoy it. Yeah. It's good.
That's a masterpiece too. It's so well made. Yeah. And as we're watching Breaking Bad, going back to the idea of trying to pick out symbolism or motifs and content, Breaking Bad is a series that before we started watching it with the kids, I told them, as we watch this show, keep in mind that those words that Jesus said according to the Gospels, when he says that what shall it profit a man if he inherit the entire earth but forfeit his soul?
Yeah.
And that's basically what's playing out from the first episode to the last, with the main character,
Walter White.
As he gains power, as he gains money, position, beyond his dreams, he's forfeiting his soul.
Yeah.
Because of the actions that he's taking, the paths that he's going down to get that power.
Oh, such a good show.
So that show is amazing.
How about you? What's your favorite TV show?
Definitely
aside from Breaking Bad.
The Sopranos. Yeah, The Sopranos is my favorite show of all time. I could watch that over and over again. I think I've watched it 5-6 times already.
A lot of times.
And I love I enjoy watching clips on YouTube of episodes that I like or scenes that I like. I
Mm-hmm.
can quote lines. It's my favorite show
Mm-hmm.
of all time. Yeah, but that's us in a nutshell.
All right.
Do you wanna? I think we should start by talking a little bit about the name of the podcast.
Yeah.
A bit
So,
of thought. I think that it's an unusual name. It probably doesn't convey the idea of what it's about or what we're about
mm-hmm.
right off the bat. It might, but right off the bat, it might not.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a word, a play on words,
Okay.
or a double entendre, as they say, a double meaning. Um, and the idea came to me a little over 10 years ago when I started my blog/website. I called it A Bit of Thoughts, and the tagline is thoughts on religion, philosophy, and other random things.
Mm.
And I purposefully included other random things
Why?
because I also enjoy doing reviews of things or talking about products that I run into that I think are great.
Mm.
One of my first blog posts over 10 years ago was about my bicycle at the time, which was an Orbea
I
bicycle.
remember.
So, it's not always
It's not
religion,
only religion and
philosophy. It's
philosophy.
also random things.
Okay.
Um, and the idea when I created the website was like, I'm writing for myself. I'm not catering to any particular audience. My interest was just an outlet to
Mhm.
write, an outlet to put thoughts out
Yeah.
into the world. But anyways, going back to the name, so the word bit has two meanings, and the first meaning that I'm using in the title is the idea of bits being the smallest units of digital data,
Okay.
right? So for those that don't know, everything you consume digitally, whether it's a movie, a TV show, a song, a book, a photograph, an app, a game, a website, all those things are made up by billions of bits, right? So bits are at the fundamental level, it's billions of these little bits, digital bits that get transmitted through the internet,
Mm-hmm.
and then when you look at something on your iPad or
Mm.
watch something on your TV, your iPad or your TV is taking those groups of billions of bits and it's putting them back together
Mm.
and outputting what it is that
The
was
final
transmitted
product.
to you, the final product. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a binary system. So bits are usually bits are represented by ones and zeros. And I like to explain it in even simpler terms. Think of bits as the pieces of a puzzle.
Okay.
So you know how you can go out and you can buy like a 1,000 piece puzzle, right? Those take forever because they're like 1,000 pieces and there's so little.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to tell what's what, where it goes. But when you put it together, the outcome or the final product, it could be a beautiful painting, a beautiful scenery from nature,
Mm-hmm.
but it all started off as just those 1,000 pieces. So it's kind of like that. Bits are like the pieces of a puzzle.
Yeah.
They get transmitted through the internet and then they get assembled by the end device, the output device.
Okay.
And I thought it was interesting because, language is a kind of like a probe. So as I speak, I'm using a language that we both understand.
Mm-hmm.
Right now it's English, and the reason humans developed this capacity was because we had to find a way to transmit or transport thoughts from one mind to the other.
Okay.
If not, there's no communication. Communication breaks down. So language allows us to put my thoughts into your head or
And to understand
the
each
heads
other.
of other people.
Yeah.
And in a literal way, bits are carrying thoughts, because as we're talking right now, or as I write something, or as we, speak about a different subject, we're basically sharing thoughts, and those bits are taking the thought either through digital audio bits, digital video bits, digital text bits, whatever it is, and transports it into the person's device. And then my thoughts are in a way reassembled so they can hear, read, or see what it is we're trying to say. And then that goes into their mind. So like I said, in a literal way, bits are transporting human thought. Not just ours,
Yeah,
everybody.
everybody's.
Anything you read online is, in a way, it's transporting human thought. So it's kind of like a new language to be able to communicate thoughts from one mind to the other. But then also, bit in casual English means something small, right? You could say like, I'm going to have a bit of chocolate, or I will see you in a bit. And what it means is a small amount of something, right? And that's the idea behind my website, the podcast, is that we want to share thoughts, but we don't want to be exhaustive. You know, this is not something like if we bring up a subject like the synoptic problem, which talks about the literary relationship between the first three Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. We'll probably have an episode that's an hour or so, but it's not exhaustive. The idea here is to inspire people to go and research for further, to go and read further, to go and discover further. So the idea is to inspire people to dialogue, to talk about things, to research things, to argue about things in the philosophical sense, not in the
Not actually
combative
arguing,
way. Yeah, in the philosophical sense, you present an argument, you know, and then you present a counter argument, and that's how we learn. That's how we develop discussion. We expand our minds. We develop our brains, our cognitive abilities. We communicate. We prevent ourselves from killing each other, because communication is what allows human beings to not kill themselves. You know, even though it's unfortunate that still happens, people get killed because of their thoughts or their opinions or their beliefs. You know, just recently we experienced that in the United States. But what separates us from the lower animals, from animals, is the ability that we can dialogue and prevent me from killing you or you from killing me. You know, if a lion runs into a pack of hyenas, they're not going to have dialogue. They might roar and bark at each other, but eventually it's going to turn into a meat fest. They're going to kill each other because they can't communicate, and their natural instinct is just attack. We have the ability to communicate, you know, so that prevents us from killing ourselves for having different opinions.
It's a powerful tool.
Yeah, it is a powerful tool. So, you know, the idea behind the name A Bit of Thought is, again, it literally represents the fact that we're sharing thoughts through digital bits, and the thoughts that we're sharing are not exhaustive in nature. They're not huge discourses. They're there to inspire you, the listener or the reader, to engage with the content further on your own. Of course, if it's something that interests you.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of the stuff that we will end up talking about is going to be influenced by Western culture, Judeo-Christian values, Roman culture, Greek culture, because we are the heirs of those great civilizations. You know, everything we consume, everything we produce in one way or another, like I mentioned earlier, is influenced.
It's a result of that.
Not necessarily a result, but there's an influence. We sort of live within a certain mythology, right? Like we live within a story, and our story here in the West is, at the very top, is Christianity.
Because it's like
God, the biblical text, and that has that at the very top itself was influenced by the cultures in which it rised out of. So Roman culture, Greek culture, Jewish culture, right? So we inherit these values, we inherit these stories, and these stories inspire us. And we write books, we make movies, we write songs. You know, we make TV shows that reflect those values. So a lot of the content that we will focus on is gonna, you know, primarily be Christianity, Western civilization, Western philosophy, um, and at times they might sound like criticisms, but that's only because I think that it's important that each culture or each society hold itself accountable, that it hold itself to a higher level of thought, of thinking.
Okay.
Um,
So not really a criticism, more like critical thinking.
well, critical thinking is part of what we want to inspire, but what I'm trying to say is that a lot of the times we might say things or approach things in a way that might seem like a criticism of
Okay.
Christianity or a criticism of the text.
Okay.
But that's only because we hold ourselves to a higher standard of thought, right?
Okay.
So we can only we should hold ourselves to higher
We should.
standards,
Yeah.
higher standards than what we hold other people to. And being here in the West, being products of Western civilization, we are gonna. Those are the topics that we will be discussing.
Okay.
How about you? Do you have anything to say about the name?
Where, we want, like you said earlier, we want to provoke thought. We want to provoke meaningful dialogue. We want to change the status quo of how people think about things, of how we think about things. We don't want to live in this box. We don't want to put ideas in a box. Let's explore outside of that, and let's see, let's debate. I want to have debates. I want to discuss
Yeah, that's
things.
a good point.
And we don't have to agree on everything. We can agree to disagree.
Exactly.
Okay.
The point is never to agree on everything. The point is to dialogue. And you bring up a good point when you said box, but a good way to think about it is, in this modern era, we live in like echo chambers. Most people have never explored outside of the echo chamber in which they were raised. So you have people, for example, going back to Christianity, most people believe things because they were handed down to them by their parents or through generations or through religious leaders. And then what happens is that you end up putting yourself into an echo chamber where you're surrounded by people who believe everything you believe, who see things the way you see. You're never exposed to challenges. And then when those challenges arise, you sort of recoil, you get upset, you get offended. But in reality, the challenge should be welcomed as a challenge to allow you to dig deeper into the things you believe. Okay. It's not always about trying to convince people that they're wrong or convince people that what they believe is incorrect or that they should believe something else. Sometimes it's always good to be challenged so that you can then be inspired to dig deeper into what you believe, right? One thing I always like to tell people is I think it's more important why you believe what you believe than what you believe.
Oh, okay.
So we're really big, on platforms to be saying, I believe, we believe, I believe this strongly. Okay, that's
but why?
fine. Yeah, why do you believe that? That's
Okay.
more important.
Well, it's
If you can
important to be able to articulate the why too. I feel like that's difficult.
Exactly, and that's one of the missing elements that I see in young people or people of all stages is we're incapable of actually articulating what we believe and why we believe it, right? So it's unfortunate, for example, in our public education system, we don't emphasize critical thinking as much as we should, or debate as much as we should. These are things that we should be teaching kids at an early age because it helps people develop critical thinking skills. And critical thinking skills is what helps move humanity forward. You're able to discover new things. You're able to find new ways of understanding the world, your fellow human being, etc., etc. So yeah, I'm a big believer that it's far more important to articulate or to know why you believe something than what you believe, because people believe all sorts of weird things. We don't take a lot of it serious, but you also got to look at it the other way too,
why they
you might
believe
believe a lot of things that people don't take serious because you don't know how to articulate it.
Yeah.
You don't even know why you believe it.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, a lot of the times it's just, this is what I learned. And you've
that's
never
it.
questioned. So what you're doing is you're literally just feeding your mind with regurgitated thoughts from people that came before you. You never got the opportunity to question, to sit down and ask yourself, why do I believe this?
Like-
Why do I see the world this way?
Or to dive deep into
Yeah.
a specific subject,
Yes.
to learn more about it, to learn about the history, or
Exactly.
you know, the time in which something happened, and or the place in which an event happened.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's why, you know, one of my main goals, I would say, or my mission as a father with my children, is not to teach them what to think, but how to think.
Okay.
So I have a rule of thumb that I never tell my kids what they need to believe. I always tell them how to think. It's because I think it's more important to teach kids how to think
Yeah.
than what to believe. That doesn't mean we don't have values
Yeah.
or principles. We do,
Yeah.
because that's part of what being a human being is all about.
Mm-hmm.
But what it does mean is that I'm not interested in indoctrinating my kids to see the world a certain way just because I see it that way.
Okay.
I'd rather give my children the tools so that they develop their own critical thinking skills and develop their own thoughts. And, you know, we shouldn't be afraid of doing that.
Yeah.
Because if we, for example, if you're a Christian and you believe that the Christian tradition is God's revelation to humanity, Jesus, you know, the life of Jesus Christ is the embodiment of the logos of truth, then what's the fear of teaching your kids to use critical thinking skills? Because critical thinking skills should only let you arrive
Yeah.
to that conclusion if
Yeah.
it really is.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to inspire other people to do or see, or maybe just so that other people understand where I'm coming from on my day-to-day dealings with people. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm excited. I'm excited for future episodes. I'm excited for what the future holds, and
Me too.
I
I'm
look
very
forward
excited.
to this.
Yep.
We're really excited about this.
So we really hope that you gain something useful out of this podcast. My primary way of communicating is writing. I'm not a big fan of being on camera or speaking in public. My primary way of communicating is writing, but I think this is a good challenge. It's a good way to, you know, articulate your thoughts.
Yeah, I kind of like, I was trying to encourage you to get your thoughts from here, not only on paper, but just out to the world. I feel like more people need to not only read what you think and what you write, but hear it. I feel like it'll reach more people that way, and it'll inspire more people.
I hope so. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys on the next one.